Today's lesson will be coming from this part of the Bible.
Lesson 12, the Noahic Covenant and the Tower of Babel. In the 7th chapter of Genesis, it describes the events that caused the flood as 40 days and nights of non-stop rain over the whole earth, while at the same time, water gushing up from deep inside the earth. Some scientists believe that this was simultaneous megafault earthquakes, causing enormous tsunamis all around the world. Every breathing creature that was not in the ark died on the earth. After the flood, many believe that the water vapor canopy that may have surrounded the earth was gone, and the atmosphere and the earth were changed, causing different climate zones all around the world. Between the increased radiation and the continual process of entropy and cellular mutations, as well as changed diet, which we will learn about shortly, man's lifespan would now gradually start getting much shorter. After the flood subsided and Noah and his family came out of the ark, the first thing Noah did was to offer animal sacrifices to God. God was so pleased that he made a covenant or an agreement which Bible scholars refer to as the Noahic Covenant. This can be found in its entirety in Genesis chapter 9 verses 8 through 17. The main points and promises of this covenant are that God promised the seasons shall not cease. God promised he will never again wipe out all life on the earth. God changed man's diet to include meat. Up to this time, man did not eat meat. God instituted human government with the authority of executing the death penalty for murder. Because the topic of capital punishment has been much debated, there will be a separate 14-minute video devoted to this topic alone. God promised never to flood the whole world again. God told them to be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. God set the rainbow as a sign of this covenant. Thus, God intended the rainbow to signify his faithfulness and encourage all the people of the earth to always look to and trust God. Unfortunately, today, many use the symbol of the rainbow to focus not on God, but on the pride of a certain group of people and lifestyle that opposes God's word. The whole world would be repopulated from Noah's 3 sons and their wives. After the flood, man's lifespan gradually started to decrease, from the first generation of the flood living several hundred years, with each succeeding generation living a few hundred years, until we get to the 9th generation after the flood, where the lifespan was down to about 200 years. Although these lifespans were shorter than those living before the flood, they still were much higher than ours today, allowing for repopulation to happen relatively quickly. The lineage of the Messiah would come from Noah's son named Shem. At this point, we want to mention a concept that needs to be remembered when reading the Bible. The Bible was not written or put together in strict chronological order. Events in earlier books or chapters of the Bible do not always precede things written in later books or chapters. Many times, information in the Bible is given in topical order rather than chronological order. It also does not have segues, which are transitional statements from one topic to another. We are at such a point in the Bible now. Chapter 10 in Genesis deals with all the different nations, while chapter 11 deals with how these nations came into being. Simply stated, the events in chapter 11 actually happened in chapter 10. The Bible focuses on the genealogy and nations in chapter 10. Then the Bible starts over again with the account of how these nations formed in chapter 11. According to the ages listed in the genealogy, about 100 years after the flood, the descendants of Noah journeyed to an area of a plain that would later give rise to the city of Babylon. They wanted to make a name for themselves by building a city with a tower to reach heaven. Although we are not privy to their intentions and motives, God was. We read in the scriptures that God knew they were imagining to do something very evil. This was an intentional rebellion against the authority of God. The people did not want God to rule over them, and they were determined to unite so that they could somehow resist and overcome God's plan. The key to their progress was their unity. Unity is not always a good thing. Great achievements by man, even when accomplished through unity, can be offensive to God if it intends or results in exalting man and rebelling against God's word. God is not pleased when we do not put him in his proper place in our lives, no matter what accomplishments man achieves. In other words, no matter how much knowledge man gains or how many things he invents or achieves, he should never think he has outgrown his subordinate and dependent position to God. To put a stop to their madness, God gave them all different languages so that they sounded like they were babbling to each other. That is why this project was called the Tower of Babel. Therefore, the people went their separate ways according to their different languages. God scattered mankind and sowed the seeds of the different nations. The world would never be the same again. The general dispersion of the three sons of Noah is depicted here on this map. The details are given in Genesis chapter 10. In our next lesson, we will learn about a man who is regarded so highly that the Apostle Paul in the New Testament will use him to teach the true doctrine of the Christian faith. As you can see, the foundation of the entire Bible is laid down in the book of Genesis. Don't miss our next lesson. Goodbye for now.